Hey guys, how's it going? Arya here. So today I'm going to be delivering my thoughts on two of the big summer movies that came out um, last month. The first one is going to be Iron Man 3, and the second one is going to be Star Trek Into Darkness. So let's get the ball rolling with Iron Man 3. Obviously, this is the first Marvel film to take place after the events of the Avengers, which I fucking loved. I love that movie. So good. And I'm really looking forward to the inevitable sequel. Um, yeah, so Iron Man 3 takes place sometime after the Avengers. I think it's like, I think they say it takes place or like after the events of the Avengers, or like a couple months or so after the events of the Avengers. I'm not really sure if they actually mentioned it in the film itself, but it does take place sometime after the events of the Avengers. So there you go. And Tony Stark, once again played by the always awesome Robert Downey Jr., he's dealing with PTSD from everything that he experienced in the Avengers, and he's just spent all his time making suit after suit after suit after suit. It just gets crazy for him, and of course, obviously he needs something to keep him occupied, some kind of a hobby, and he just makes lots and lots of suits. So there you go. And obviously this leads into him dealing with like issues with his girlfriend Pepper Potts, once again played by Gwyneth Paltrow, and this also leads to War Machine being rebranded as Iron Patriot. Of course, the guy in the suit is James Rhodes, once again played by Don Cheadle from Iron Man 2. And before we go any further, I just want to say I really wasn't all that upset with them recasting the role. I mean, Terrence Howard in the first Iron Man movie I thought was good, but I do think that Don Cheadle is actually better than Terrence Howard. Again, no disrespect to Terrence Howard, I think he's a great actor, but I was actually kind of picturing Don Cheadle in the role in the first Iron Man movie, so when they brought him in for Iron Man 2, I was like, okay, that's great. I'm totally fine with this. So there you go. But yeah, and of course the villain in this movie is the Mandarin, played by Sir Ben Kingsley, who's going to be in the upcoming film Ender's Game, which I saw a preview for when I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, and I'm sort of kind of looking forward to that. I don't know if I want to see Ender's Game or not, but I don't know. But yeah, and also Guy Pearce is in this movie, and this film also has the extremist virus in it, which can regrow limbs and make someone like really highly volatile and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting, let me tell you. And of course, I don't actually read comic books, so if there are any comic book fans out here, let me know more about the Mandarin and the extremist virus in the comments section below, because like I said, I really don't read comic books. I only read Doctor Who comic books, so yeah. But overall, I thought Iron Man 3 was really good. I thought it was definitely a step up from Iron Man 2, and I think this movie is as enjoyable as the first Iron Man movie, so definitely check it out. There's a funny scene after the end credits. It's not necessarily an Avengers 2 lead-in kind of scene, but it is pretty hilarious. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yet. So, I definitely give it a watch if you're a fan of the first two Iron Man films, and yeah, definitely check it out. Give it a watch. I saw this in 3D, and the 3D was really subtle in this one, which I like, because I remember like the 3D that they used in Spy Kids 3D. It was like where they were like throwing things at you constantly. And I'm really happy that 3D is not like that nowadays. I love the new 3D technology and stuff like that. It's really, really good. So, yeah, like I said, Iron Man 3, definitely give it a watch. Okay, now, the big one. Star Trek Into Darkness. I loved this movie. Obviously, this is the continuation of the reboot franchise with the characters from the original series played by younger actors and stuff like that, and for the most part, I really enjoyed Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought it was great. Chris Pine is back as Kirk, Zachary Quinto as Spock, Zoe Saldana as Uhura, Carl Urban as Bones, John Cho as Sulu, Anton Yelchin as Chekhov, Simon Pegg as Scotty. Hilarious as always, haha. And there are some new characters in this movie too. There's Admiral Marcus, played by Peter Wallace, who was the original RoboCop, I hear. Newcomer Alice Eve, I have no idea who she is. Benedict Cumberbatch as the villain, who goes by the name of John Harrison, but I'm not going to spoil who he really is. If you have not seen this movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you have seen the movie, you obviously know who he really is, but I'm not going to spoil it for those who have not seen the movie, so there you go. But yeah, I know sources where that Heather Langenkamp from the original Nightmare on Elm Street had a bit part in the movie, and I really couldn't tell like which character she was or who she was playing. So if you know which character she was, then let me know in the comments section. So thank you. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Again, I saw this in 3D. 3D was subtle, and of course the 3D was actually done in post-production. So they converted the film into 3D after they filmed everything. So there you go. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. The action was well paced. Excuse me. Get to see the Klingons in this movie. Not a big spoiler, so there's that. But the look of the Klingons in this movie, I thought, wasn't all that bad. I mean, I have season 1 of the original series on DVD, so during that era, the Klingons had like smooth foreheads, and then they kind of evolved a little bit in Star Trek The Motion Picture, but then the look of the Klingons got way better in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. So, yeah. But the look of the Klingons in this movie, it was good, not all that bad. Yeah. So let's see here. If I could say anything negative about these two films, it would be really hard to do. I mean, I guess the only sort of little teensy-weensy nitpick about Iron Man 3 is that Jon Favreau did not direct this one, but again, that's just a big minor thing, I mean, sometimes in film franchises you get different directors, for every single movie. I mean, with films like Nightmare on Elm Street, they got different directors for a good majority of those movies, and I wasn't happy with who they got to direct Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Some of the other directors that they brought in did a really good job. The Star Trek franchise, they've gotten different directors for most of their films. Again, I wasn't happy with what Shatner did in Star Trek 5. But yeah, some of the directors that they got were really good, and I like the fact they even got cast members to direct some of those films. But did they really have to get Shatner for Star Trek 5? Because I don't know why they did that. But again, the films that Nimoy directed were good. The films that Jonathan Frakes directed, I thought, were fantastic. And as I know, some people complain about Insurrection. Oh, it's like an episode of Next Generation. So what? Big deal. I really liked Insurrection. I thought it wasn't that bad. And yes, I do see how some people could see it as an episode of Next Generation and blah, blah, blah. But again, I liked Insurrection. I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't a great film, but I thought it was good. So there you go. But anywho, and I guess I wouldn't have anything bad to say about Star Trek Into Darkness. I mean, again, I really enjoyed the hell of that movie, and it makes me, and it's really, bleh. And I'm really forward as to seeing as to how this new reboot franchise is going to progress, and what they're going to do for the next film, if there's going to be a next film. And some people are saying that there's probably not going to be another one because, J.J. Abrams is going to be directing the new Star Wars movie, blah, blah, blah. Well, as far as we know, he's just directing episode 7. We don't know if he's directing episodes 8 and 9 or not. So it's highly possible that after Star Wars episode 7, he could come back to the franchise, or if not, they could bring in someone else. But again, we just have to wait and see. So there you go. So those are my thoughts on Iron Man 3 and Star Trek Into Darkness. Hopefully the next big summer film that I will see is Man of Steel. I am so looking forward to that. I mean, it's the perfect time. You know, it's Superman's 75th birthday this year. Oh my god. How awesome is that? So yeah, hopefully that will be the next big summer film I get to see. I'm probably not going to see After Earth. I've been hearing some really bad stuff about that film. I'm probably not going to see Hangover 3. I never saw any of the first two films. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to see The Great Gatsby or not. I've been hearing some good things about that film. But again, I'm not quite sure because I remember reading the book in high school. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure. But hey, Baz Luhrmann's directing it. He directed Moulin Rouge, which I love. But yeah. But anywho, what's the other one I'm not going to see? Oh, I'm not going to see Fast and Furious 6. Main reason, I've not seen any of the other Fast and Furious movies. So there you go. But yeah, hopefully I'll get to see Man of Steel. I also sort of kind of want to see Epic. I've been hearing some good things about that film too. But again, I really want to see Man of Steel. I love Superman. As some of you may know, he's my all-time favorite superhero from the DC universe, and I'm really excited for this one. I mean, the cast they've assembled is awesome. I mean, Henry Cavill as Clark Kent / Superman, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. Yes, please. And this other guy, I've never heard of him before, but Michael Shannon as General Zod. That should be awesome. So, yeah, that's basically it for now, and hopefully I will talk to you guys after I go see Man of Steel. So, hooray! So, until next time, live long and prosper. Peace out. Bye-bye.